sonically, I don't think there's anyone better at what they do than this man. So you can only imagine if he built this from the ground up, how it sounds. And I encourage you to go listen to our album and you'll see why it sounds better than everything else, because 40's a genius.
Noah 40 is a genius. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Noah 40 is a genius. You cannot argue. 40 is known for having a different approach and breaking the rules as a producer.
Absolutely not. You cannot do that. That is against the rules. I'm sorry. We will not release this song. It sounds horrible.
Now, mostly known for his collaborations with Drake, he's been able to work with some of the most prolific artists of today, man. Bringing him 16 Grammy nominations and pushing a sound that has an influence worldwide. Eventually instilling him as a genius amongst producers, making him the face of that OVO sound, man. So check me out. In this video, I'll be deconstructing a few projects, highlighting and giving you everything you need to know when it comes to making that signature style of Noah 40. Other than that, man, let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, bro, so check me out. If you don't know Noah 40, you at least know his sound, man. Noah 40 should be commonly known as 40. His story starts in Toronto, Canada, where he began falling in love with instruments and production at a young age.
I was always playing piano from a really young age, 3, 4.
Being fully engulfed by his later high school in 10 years, and eventually, you know, continuing to take those footsteps and follow his ambitions. Now, all of these efforts and avenues that he took eventually gave him leverage and his own unique way of looking and approaching music, which we can see even in his most modern production.
It's funny because I'm a producer as well as an engineer. You know, my engineering means a lot to me. As same as my producing does, and people would think that the producing is so much more valuable of an asset to me, but it's not, you know?
You won't see many studios that have these pieces embedded into the systems the way I do, because I'm a producer, so I built this from the standpoint of a producer. Then me and Drake start working at my condo, making Comeback Season, and Oliver's there. And Oliver works at Lounge. So Oliver starts connecting the creative and the visuals and just contributing to what we're building. And the next thing you know, we're kind of like, yo, we should like start a little crew. And there is the birth of OVO as well.
I want to get you as close as possible to uncovering the mindset of 40's production and his genius. We'll be deconstructing 2 beats and 2 melodies, man. So I want to make sure y'all boys getting some gems in this video. We're going to be going over some melody techniques, a couple different mindset approaches that we can look at our samples and projects differently from. But bro, by the end of this video, you will have the genius that sets Noah 40 apart from a lot of these producers and why his sound has been able to reach, you know, the heights that it has been. All right, man, so you see it, it's the first project. So for this project, I want to cover his most commonly known sound. 40 is known for almost a lo-fi, underwater type of vibe, you feel what I'm saying?
I'm notorious for this, like, you know, very lo-fi, you know, underwater sound.
He's been able to let go of that creative ego and disappear in his production and truly understands that less is more. Now looking at tracks like
Cups of the rose, bitches in my old phone.
Shit is purely for sport, I need a 30 for 30. Banners are ready, case we need to retire your jersey. Yeah.
Honestly, I can't stand you.
We can easily see a common theme with his approach. And honestly, bro, it can be simplified in one word, you feel me? Space. It's his minimalistic approach to achieving that truly sets him apart. Space is going to be one of the biggest topics or things that we're going to be talking about in this video, and is a staple to 40's genius. So as we deconstruct this beat, you feel me, keep space in mind. How can we get more space by using less? 40 has been able to disappear in his production. 40 says,
my objective is to make the artist the #1 priority at any cost. As much as I want to have integrity in the work that I'm doing, I want to make sure they're getting what they want.
And sometimes, bro, his drums are so simple, he even uses just a kick and tom, nigga.
I'm a minimalistic drum programmer. I often use 1 kick and 1 tom.
Bro, that's 2 decisions, bro. 2 decisions got him out the mud, bro. 2 decisions. When it comes to melodies or just production in general, just music, whenever you have like a complex melody, it'll probably be calling for simple drums. Whenever you have a simple melody, it'll probably be calling for complex drums. But since we want to kind of match the vibe and keep that minimalistic approach to the whole composition. You know, the melody is gonna be simple, and so is the drums. So the complexity is not gonna rest in the actual note, but in the emotion that is received. So check me out, you feel me? So the first thing that we added were just these simple keys. I just played a F minor and, feel me, F minor and a C minor. And quick disclaimer, bro, I say it all the time, yo, but it's not about the notes that you play. It's not about what you do, bro, but it's about how you do it. So in this instance, even though it's 2 chords, you could play the same 2 chords 1,000 times, bro, but it's just about how you dress them. It's about how you actually play them. Some key qualities of Noah 40's production is lo-fi, ambient, simple, an overall softer sound. So even with these keys, I had to keep that in mind. When making anything of this type of style, pay attention to the velocities, like how hard these notes are going to be hitting, because you don't want anything that's going to really stand out. So over the years of just me being a creative, I've been able to really learn one thing that comes with simplicity is being able to look at the things that you already have. So even when just starting out this melody, I'm asking the question, how can we not take away but draw an idea out just from this one foundation? Next thing I did is I just took these same chords, clicked this little button right here, reversed them, and that gave us a whole new melody. So I'll go ahead and play the keys and the reverse joints. Now check me out. Looking at 40's production, one thing that always stands out in his sound is his usage of vocal samples. We can see where Noah uses a combination of smooth melodies and vocals, lush chords, you know, ambient sounds to create a complex vibe that is perfect for an artist. So for this project, I came in with something really simple. I just said, shame on me, you feel me? Shame on. I'll go ahead and play the little loop that I made, but yeah. So using that same approach to simplicity, I heard this and I'm like, yo, I might as well double it, you feel me? So what I did is I just took the same melody and I reversed it, and then I pitched it up, and we got a whole different feeling. I'll go ahead and play that. I want these to be catchy, simple, and repetitive, man. If you got those 3 things, you are smooth, dog. Now, one thing to note, bro, is that these things, they are verbed out, bro. They are verbed out, yet they still have their own space in the mix, their own role, their own intention that they're playing. Each one still has contrast, which allows you to be able to discern, you know, these different ideas from each other. I think like a lot of the times with vocals, you know what I'm saying, they can get all mushed together because they're not sitting in their own spot in the mix. There's not a lot of contrast, which is another key to Noah 40's genius. Contrast is important, especially when having multiple ideas. Now, one thing in common about each decision made while making this beat is the attention to the high end. 40 is known for not having a lot of high end in his production, which is a key contributor to why artists are really able to just have the creative freedom that they do on his stuff, man.
I was carving out an entire space and the frequencies, so the artist occupies the top end completely, almost exclusively, and the music sits in the bottom end.
Like I said, he disappears in his production and make the artist and their voice the main focus. Now let me show you this little EQ real quick so you can like see. You feel me? There's like no high end, bro. There's like nothing under 5K, bro. Like watch. Tell me what you hear different.
People usually assume that it's a low-pass filter, but for the most part, I'm actually degrading the sample rate, so I'm removing those frequencies from the top end. They're not even getting sampled in the first place. They don't even exist. Like it was sampled or like it was taken from somewhere.
By doing this is how we're able to get that underwater lo-fi sound that 40 is known for. There's not a lot of drums, there's not a lot of notes, but undoubtedly there is a complex emotion. So yeah, with that being said, like, to achieve this style, it is very accomplishable. It's not hard, it's pretty easy, but in this instance, I think it really shows that there are simple solutions to complex problems. So yeah, man, on to project number 2, man. Even in his earlier works, he's been showing his diligence and understanding of less is more. Even with what he was limited to, even though they had lots of stuff, you know, everybody's limited to what they have in that present moment.
You know, I'd made the thing on a laptop in hotel rooms, literally. I mean, there's photos of it, like literally hanging mics off hotels, clipping pillows to hangers and sticking them on the walls, and like anything you could imagine.
But I think you can really see how 40 uses core fundamentals to shape and guide his sound. So we want to come in this next project with the mindset or the idea of less being more, and how can we create a cohesive sound using texture. All right, now looking at tracks.
I kiss my mother on the cheek, tell her that I love her. You ain't gotta worry about a thing, I got it covered.
To the moon and sky.
We could have had moon and the sky.
And one of my favorites of 40 is Deep Pockets.
I can't do that normal type of life, is it just me? Niggas steady try to ride the wave, but it's rough seas.
Now we can see he uses a catchy melody, but I think with all of these songs, man, the texture is one of the biggest characteristics that stands out and contributes to the whole vibe of the idea. And I think that Deep Pockets is a great example, showing us how he has been able to use a minimalistic approach, incorporating things like space, texture, and rhythm, contrast. A lot of the times we can see 40 using keys. So with this idea, started with these simple piano chords, and then I went ahead and I layered it with another set of keys just so I can give it some more depth and life. It's in our nature to appreciate simplicity. I did not want to do too much. Again, I wanted the complexity to be in the emotion received from it instead of what I actually did. Piano, keys, bass, and vocals, man. Just something really simple.
Simple usually translates to real because there's not too much. It's not overdone.
Now, the next thing I did was I added this bass just to, you know, solidify the whole vibe of the sample and, you know, give it the low end and emotion. After like a smooth 15 takes, you know what I'm saying, I think I got like a cool vocal chop, a loop that, you know what I'm saying, fit well with the keys. What gave the track emotion, some bounce and rhythm, and I wanted these vocals to kind of sound like they're in a room. Looking at songs like Chicago Freestyle, you can hear how just that simple difference to texture affects how that idea is perceived. Now when it comes to the drums, I wanted to lean more on that lo-fi sound that 40 is known for. So I'm choosing organic instruments that work well together. They have similar characteristics and qualities. So the drums are literally as simple as they can get. They're a kick, a hi-hat, a snare, and a percussion. 4 decisions got me these drums. Looking at this example, we can really see how the character of the drums played a role in the song. You know, they were crunchy, they were gritty, they gave it, like I said, that texture. Now I did this to give them all like a cohesive sound. If they all have this noise, number one, get that texture that I was looking for, and it meshed everything together. This RC20, I think, really helped me sit the drums in the back and give it the saturation and the texture that I wanted. So a few more things I wanted to pay attention to in this beat, and one of the main ones being movement. I wanted to make sure I can enhance the movement that's going on in this beat. To really solidify the movement of this track was I sidechained the kick to this noise texture right here. And I did that so when this kick comes in, it'll cut through the noise and the other drums. And even when it's not playing, I still have a layer of noise ducking, contributing to the movement of the sample. Being a minimalist, there's not too much things you can do when the best solution is usually to do nothing or to take something away. But with 40's approach being, how can we make the artist the focal point? This is where 40 has been able to demonstrate an expert use of texture. Alright, bet. So these are the last 2 beats. You feel me? I made this joint from scratch, but this is the project I'm gonna be breaking down for y'all boys. Now, looking at tracks like
I wanna take you to oases. Being honest, I don't really know what patience is. Hey, shit just got real, things are getting intense now.
we can see where 40 really goes crazy and experiments with a faster BPM and really bouncy drums. And for this last part, I kind of want to talk about a technique that when I really tapped in and fully was able to grasp, helped me define my own signature bounce. And we can see these techniques or approach used in 40's production time after time. Now this last section is going to be primarily focused on the drums. And I really think this will help us tie everything that we learned together so we can see it in practice. And that one word is going to be contrast. Or if you want to go a little bit farther, you can say sound profile. Now, what is a sound profile, right? In my own head, you know what I'm saying? This is how I see it, is I think of a category of sounds that sound similar or have, you know, similar characteristics. For example, you have dry sounds that sound good with dry sounds, sounds that have reverb that sound good with other sounds with reverb, long drawn out notes that sound good with other longer notes, and then you have really short sounds that sound good with, you know, a different combination of instruments. So for these next couple examples, keep those 2 words in mind: contrast and sound profile. But we can really see how 40 uses contrast and a strategic usage of sounds with a similar sound profile to get the best sound for an artist. For this example that I have pulled up right now, I took inspirations from tracks like where it uses a higher BPM and, you know, has really bouncy drums. For the core foundation or the main melody, I just started with these simple sine chords, you know, just, you feel me, just 3 chords. That's all it is, man. I just layered them with this Juno just to give it, you know, some more depth, more life. I built the whole idea off of 3 chords just to add some contrast and emphasize certain parts of the melody. I just added this counter melody and I actually duplicated it, so I layered it again. But both of these sounds together, they completed the idea. All right, so the last thing I did was I just added this vocal chop. Simple texture, nothing crazy. Looking at this reference one more time, we hear the usage of a guitar. This really jumped out at me, so I wanted to include something similar in this beat. So what I did is I just grabbed this Foley sound from my son's drum kit. Now, to get your best beats, each sound should complement one another. Every single note that you add should be complementing or pushing that idea one step closer. So for the sound profile of this beat, I wanted to choose clean, minimalistic, and short sound. For these production, one thing that we can really see is that there is a lack of hi-hats, even in his more bouncy works. Less usage of hi-hats opens up a lot more bounce for other instruments and other pockets that instruments or drums can fit in. As soon as I stopped using as many hi-hats in my beats, bro, my bounce just went out the roof, dog. So the first two drums that I started off with, just to set like the foundation of the beat, is gonna be the kick and the rim. Made sure that I had a hard and punchy kick, you feel me, something that is really gonna get your head knocking. And then I just came in with this rim and I layered it with another rim shot. Essentially what we're doing is we're just listening for other pockets and decorating the space in between those notes, which can go back to 40, even simplifying his drums just to two simple units, man, the kick and the tom. All right, so next thing I did just to add some more bounce is I added this little open hat. I made sure to play with the envelope so it stops and starts when I want to. So yeah, it just gave me more control of the bounce. And then I came in with these percussion. Now, speaking of the sound profile, you can kind of hear what I'm talking about. Like, all of these sound similar. They sound like the same sound, just a different variation. All right, next thing I did was I came in with this 808, made sure to play with the envelope too, just so, you know what I'm saying, I can have control over the bounce and control over the space. Space is one of the main drivers of the idea. You feel me? To see an object, you gotta see what's around it. It's where the brain can deconstruct the emotions and the things that you feel. But yeah, with this beat, we can see how to isolate and use a strategic sound profile to leave space for artists. All right, so check me out with this project. I wanted to create something more on that dreamy side. I still wanted to be in that high BPM, pretty bouncy, so we're at 180. Now, using a similar sound profile, we want to choose clean, minimalistic, and short sound. So you'll see that that's going to be a common theme with all of my drums. All right, so the first thing I did was I came in with these little these keys. You know, something smooth, you feel me? I did not want to fight with anything that's going to be in that high end frequency. All right, so the next thing we did is we just layered it. I guess this pad. All right, so the next thing we did is we added these two basses. You feel me? One is really for the low end and the other one is mainly for the melody. Now, I have it only playing in certain parts of the song so I can make the least amount of moves and still, you know, play with the emotion of whoever's listening to it. added this ear candy, you know, it's just a simple counter melody. I feel like this was the icing on the cake for the chords. And for the drums, again, very simple. For the drums, we started off with a kick and a snare. And in this instance, the snare is gonna be a percussion. That's all I really needed to get the main foundation for the beat. For this kick and this percussion, I wanted to have a lot of contrast. You have a hard kick and then something that's really light. You go from 100 to 0. I just added this snap and this clap just to give the beat, you know, a little bit more contrast, add to the bounce. Because I added this hi-hat. Throughout this whole video, I rarely used any hi-hat. You want to stay away from things that are distracting. I came in with these perks, just wanted to add some bounce. I think that in life, when we focus more on what can we take away instead of what can we add, is when we really start to see growth. And even with music is when we're gonna get like the best ideas.
Simplicity with authenticity at the same time is so difficult. So to make something simple but good is extremely difficult.
But yeah, man, you can see how 40 has used and crafted his sound using strategic and complex minimalism. So yeah, that's the video. I forgot to record an outro, so this is gonna be the outro. You got any value from this video, anything, much gratitude, dog. And if you made it this far, drop this emoji right here so that I know that you a real one. If y'all boys want any of these melodies that we made in this video, there's gonna be a free download link in the description. If I can inspire one creative with this video, that's why we doing it, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, your boy Serge, we out.